Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about what area of development I would go into if I had to do it all over again. So the question in question was a response to what I would have done differently if I started my career over, and it goes, Frederick, on the topic of starting all over, which field would you take? Would you still go for web development or maybe something like AI or blockchain? So the short answer is that I would still go for web development, and the reason is very simple because the like my love for programming is very high. I really do enjoy all the things about programming pretty much, and I try to learn as much as I can. I kind of go wide. It's what is it they say? Jack of all trades, master of none. That's probably me fairly well described when it comes to programming. And although I think that AI and blockchains and so forth are these are interesting concepts. The thing about web development is that it is the heart and soul of the modern world. What I mean by that is that the internet is a marketplace. Well, it's not just a marketplace, it's much more than that, but it is, as in essence, the thing that we today have instead of going to a physical market and selling our goods. And trade is the thing that, and commerce, trade and commerce is the thing that keeps this entire planet running, or our entire society is built on this. Everything stems from that system, the open market, and you can today practically not, at least not in the modern world, make a like you need the web in some fashion to be able to to make money. I'm not saying that that's always 100% true, but it practically is. Like it's such a dominant force in our society that that without it you're pretty much running a marathon with a limp. You're not going to be able to compete as well as the people who have a very strong web presence. And so for me, what that basically means is that if you're going to invest in anything for a long-term career or job security or anything like that, then the web is the best choice. There is no if we look at the numbers, there is no real competition here. The web is the main job provider in IT. There is no other area of programming that has as many opportunities as web development. Now, that doesn't mean that I think that just doing web development is the best thing in the world. But the thing is that, I mean, that's at least how I went about it today, and I think I would go about it the same way. I mean, you have to start somewhere. So when you start programming for the very first time and you don't know anything besides, like, maybe Hello World, well, then you're going to have to make a choice. What do you want to invest in and what do you find interesting? And since I'm a little bit, as I said, of a polyglot type of thing, I mean, if in the early days my career may have taken a very different turn if my first job offer was from a company that did embedded systems, for example. I might have picked that up because I thought that at one point I thought that was pretty cool as well. That would be pretty awesome to be able to work closer to the hardware, and I still might do that when I feel like I'm finished with the web development. And so the thing is that the core concepts, and that's what I like so much about it, the core concepts of programming, actually writing code, is fairly universal. It's not like if you know web, then there's no way for you to ever do anything else. Or if you know blockchain programming, well, then there's no way for you to learn anything else. That's not true. Programming is pretty much the same deal in terms of actually writing out the logic, regardless of where you go. It all comes down to, are you willing to learn the things that surround the whole thing? An example would be if you only know how to do, say, Ruby development and web, well, then you're going to have to study a little bit and learn some more fundamentals, most likely, if you wanted to do systems level development or embedded systems or things like that, most likely, because now you need to know about memory management and pointers and all this good stuff that come from the lower level languages. But you can still do that, and that's why for me web was, it's just a start. it's a very big area, and I'm still learning tons and tons of stuff about it. But at least I feel that now in my career, I've gotten to a point where it's hard for me to find anything else in web, and I'm talking about not just like front end or back end. That stuff I feel fairly secure in. Now I'm talking about even at the management level. I'm talking about I'm getting to the point where the only place I actually feel I'm learning new things is by actually working with operations and security issues and so forth. And that is an indicator to me that, well, maybe I've like stretched this area so wide now or so much that I have a fairly good set of skills in this, and now it's probably time to take a look at the next thing. So that's what I do. So if you like my YouTube like tutorial list of learning materials is usually not that associated with web development these days. Unless I see some really interesting tech talk or something that seems really interesting, most of it is actually related to security. I watch a lot of videos and get a lot of very awesome tips from people who work with bug bounties and exploits and things like that. I also watch a lot of machine learning tutorials, things like that, and I also have a special place in my heart just because to learn about Rust and lower level stuff. Uh, all of these things are on the table now for me, and that's something I've said to a few developers before. Like, you don't have to think like the first thing that you pick, that's your life for the rest of your career as a software developer. Once you have a solid foundation and you feel like you can make a living, it all really comes down to, do you want to continue? Do you want to continue learning? Because if you continue learning, there's so many other things that you could be doing. You just need those core development skills, and then you need to ask the question, what am I lacking in order to take the next step? So what I want you to take away from this is that, at least for me, if I had to do it all over, I would still pick web development as my first area of programming, because it's a very good starting point for any software developer. That doesn't mean that it's the only one. There's other areas that you could pick if you want to go in that way, but as at least from my perspective, it's a very good gateway field within IT to start with, and you will learn core skills, and you will learn some of the most valuable skills, and I can promise you that your chances of having a job, getting a job, and like working pretty much for life is as high as they can get in that area. But once you have those skills and you feel like you kind of know this stuff, and I promise you, you're gonna get there way before you retire, if you just keep on learning, of course. Well, then you can branch out, do whatever you want, and the same thing goes for all the other stuff. If you become a master blockchain or something like that, and you can make a living from working in that area, there's nothing stopping you from getting broader and realizing that, wow, there's other stuff that's going on that's pretty cool. I mean, I want to try out games development, or I want to try this or that, and so forth. It really all comes down to, what are your interests? Do you want to branch out more, or do you want to stick to the thing that you learn? And it doesn't really matter what you pick. Have a great day.